Jayo Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jayo Radha Giridhari Shri Radhe Jayo Radhe Jayo Radhe Jayo Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra, Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Nitai Gaura Haribol, Haribol, Nitai Gaura Haribol, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Nittai Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacarya Shri Shri Ashtotara Shri Srimate Si Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So welcome everyone to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class. Let's begin with reading Srila Prabhupada's Lilamrita. Carl was trying to be something he really wasn't, but he would never have suggested that the Swami had to leave. Swami, I'm sure, was astute enough to pick up on this tension. As soon as he could, he tried to move to another place. Gradually, Carl reached an impasse in his relationship with Prabhupada. He couldn't share his life with both his wife and the Swami. And ultimately, he was more inclined toward his wife. Carl, I couldn't see my loft becoming a temple. I was raising cats and dogs, and he wanted them removed. He used to call me a meat eater, but then he changed our diet. Of course, he was hitting the American culture. Who doesn't know what all this business is? I have put it on myself as much as anyone. I could understand and absorb India through an impersonal agency, like a book or a record. But here was the living representative of Godhead, and to me, it was as difficult as anything I have ever had to do before or since. Prabhupada was not insensitive to the distress. His presence, to the distress his presence was causing. He didn't want to inconvenience anyone. And of course, he could have avoided all inconvenience, both for himself and for people like Eva, if he had never come to America. But he wasn't concerned with convenience or inconvenience, pleasing Eva or displeasing her. He wanted to teach Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada had a mission, and Karl's loft didn't seem to be the right base for it. Prabhupada's friends all agreed he should move more into the center of things. The Bowery and Chinatown were too far out of the way. They would find him a new place. Forced by conditions, he accepted as Krishna's mercy. Prabhupada sat patiently, trying not to disturb anyone, yet speaking about Krishna consciousness day and night. Karl assured him that with a half a dozen people searching, it wouldn't take long to find a new place, and they would all chip in together and help him with the rent. Should I stop here or should I continue?
No, Prabhuji, Mataji, it's all right. You can stop if you like.
Okay, because this ends here, so I was thinking tomorrow.
That's fine. That's fine, Mataji.
Okay. So Srila Prabhupada ki jai. What beautiful excerpt. That was very beautiful. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Shrinvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanam Hridiyantastohi Abhadrani Vidunoti Sruhit Satam नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भगवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोकैर्भक्ति भवति नैष्टिकी. So we're reading from Canto 4, Chapter 24, which is chanting this song sung by Lord Shiva, and the verse number is 76. Ya imam shraddhaya yukto madgitam bhagavatstavam adhiyano duraradyam harim aradyati yaso. Ya imam shraddhaya yukto madgitam bhagavatstavam adhiyano duraradyam harim aradhayati aso. Ya imam shraddhaya yukto madgitam bhagavatstavam adhiyano duraradyam harim aradhayati aso. Are there any volunteers who would like to recite this verse?
Hare Krishna, Mataji, I'm trying.
Prabhu.
Ayam Shraddhaya Yukto Madgitam Bhagavatastavam Adhiyano Duraradhyam Hari Maradhayati Asho. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. No one else? Okay. So, synonyms and translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Synonyms. Yeah, anyone. Imam, this. Shraddhaya, with great faith, Yuktaha, devoutly attached. Mat Geetam, the song composed by me or sung by me. Bhagavat Stavam, a prayer offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Adhiyanaha, by regular study. Duraradhyam, very difficult to worship. Harim, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Aradhyati, he can, however, worship him. So such a person. Translation: although rendering devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and worshipping him are very difficult, if one vibrates or simply reads this stotra prayer composed and sung by me, he will very easily be able to invoke the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Is there anyone who would like to read the purport?
Hare Krishna Mataji, I can read it?
Yes, Prabhu, please.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Right.
It is specially significant that Lord Shiva is a pure devotee of Lord Vasudeva. Vaishnavanam yatha Shambhu. Among all Vaishnavas, Lord Shiva is the topmost. Consequently, Lord Shiva has a Sampradaya, a Vaishnava disciplic succession called the Rudra Sampradaya. At the present moment, those who belong to the Vishnu Swami Sampradaya of Vaishnavas come from Rudra, Lord Shiva. To become a devotee of Lord Krishna, Vasudeva, is very, very difficult. The word specially used in this connection is Duraradhyam. The worship of the demigod is not very difficult, but becoming a devotee of the Lord Vasudeva, Krishna, is not so easy. However, if one adheres to the principles and follow in the footsteps of higher authorities, as advised by Lord Shiva, one can easily become a devotee of Lord Vasudeva. This is also confirmed by Prahlad Maharaj. Devotional service cannot be practiced by a mental speculator. Devotional service is a special attainment which can be acquired only by a person who has surrendered unto a pure devotee. As confirmed by Prahlad Maharaj, Mohiyasham Padarajobhishekam Nishkanchanam no Brinita Yavat. Unless one accepts the dust of the lotus feet of a pure devotee who is free from all material contamination, one cannot enter into the devotional service of the Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5.32. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very beautiful verse and purport and translation. So to understand it more deeply, what Srila Prabhupada is saying, let's invoke our prayers to our gurus and Srila Prabhupada. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Veer Krishna Das Goswami Niti Namine. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So our verse today talks about Phala Shruti actually. All these verses from 74 to 79, and we are on 76. These talk about Phala Shruti. In 74, Lord Shiva says that by chanting this prayer, one attains the highest benefit of becoming a devotee of the Lord. What prayer? Rudra Gita. So just to praise knowledge, Lord Shiva also says that in 75, that was yesterday's verse, of all auspicious items in this world, knowledge is supremely auspicious. By it, one can cross over the ocean of nescience. However, in this verse, Lord Shiva mentions the importance of bhakti. However, knowledge gives more difficulties and is not suitable as a boat to cross this samsara. Because with knowledge, we won't be able to cross this samsara. So, therefore, in this verse number 76, he speaks of bhakti. The Lord can conquer only by bhakti. That's why in the translation is Lord Shiva here says that he will very easily be able to invoke the mercy of thee. So we're talking about how easy it is, and equally how difficult it is as well. So the Lord, as said, the Lord can be conquered only by bhakti. And who has pure bhakti? A pure devotee has pure bhakti. It's pure devotee does not, the meaning of pure devotee is he does not have mixed intentions in bhakti. So he's solidly situated only in bhakti, only in devotional service. So devotional service is considered as the easiest and the most difficult as well. So this verse actually, I'll just pick up the very important points from this verse, from this purport, so that we can reflect a little bit more. So it is especially significant that Lord Shiva is a pure devotee of the Lord Vasudeva. So, and then Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. Amongst all Vaishnavas, Lord Shiva is the topmost. And we know from the life, from the way of, or in simple words, from the lifestyle of Lord Shiva, we can understand how so unattached he is with everything. He has so many opulences, but he does not want any of them, and he's always constantly in the service of Krishna or Ram. So to become, at the present moment, who belongs to Vishnu Swami Sampradaya, comes from Rudra Lord Shiva. So to become a devotee of Lord Krishna, is very, very difficult, as said. And there's this contradiction in the verse as well as the translation. Becoming a devotee, once you become a devotee, Lord will be very easily Lord, it will be very easy for us to conquer Lord. And in the purport, it says to become a devotee of Lord Krishna is very, very difficult. So let's find out, how is it very difficult? The worship of demigods are not very difficult, but becoming a devotee of Lord Vasudeva Krishna is not so easy. If, however, one adheres to the principles and follows in the footsteps of the higher authorities as advised by Lord Shiva, one can easily become a devotee of Lord Vasudeva. So we understand that the path of devotional service is very easy, and the path of devotional service is equally difficult as well. And as confirmed by Prahlad Maharaj, devotional service is a special attainment which can be acquired only by a person who has surrendered, the word underlined, surrendered, unto a pure devotee. So unless one accepts the dust of the lotus feet of a pure devotee who is free from all material contamination, this means that pure devotee has pure bhakti. One cannot enter into the devotional service of the Lord. So this takes us to this verse actually gives us a chance to delve into the details of Bhagavad Gita. If you would like, you can open your Bhagavad Gita to just keep with me. So chapter 11 and 12, they talk about devotional service. Devotional service is discussed more in detail in chapter 12. And chapter 11, from verses 47, after Krishna has shown the universal form, in this verse, basically, we're going to discuss a little bit about what jnana is as compared to bhakti, what devotional service is, and what pure devotion is. And therefore, from this we get a chance to delve into Bhagavad Gita, chapter 11 and 12. So in chapter 11, verse number 47, 48, 49, pure bhakti is considered as a prerequisite to see any form of Krishna. So it's very rare to see even the universal form of Krishna. In verse number 47, Krishna says, "Dear Arjuna, I've shown the supreme, effulgent, unlimited, universal form by my internal potency, being pleased with you." This happened only when Krishna was pleased with Arjuna. No one has ever seen this before you. Never seen before, because Krishna is merciful to Arjuna. The residents of the higher planets also saw the universal form now, but when Krishna attempted to persuade Duryodhana from war, Duryodhana tried to capture Krishna, isn't it? And at that time also Krishna showed his universal form. But that's different from what Krishna is showing us now, or showing Arjuna now. So no one has ever seen this form, because why? Because neither by Vedic study, which is Veda Adhyan, nor by sacrifices, neither by Yajna Adhyan, charity, pious acts, penances, can I be seen in this form. I mean, the biggest yogis are also not able to see this. But who can see? I am seen only by bhakti. Only by divine vision, which is a result of pure devotion. Bhakti can actually see, from bhakti one can actually see the forms of Krishna. The pure devotees, however, are not interested to see the universal form. Srila Prabhupada mentioned that. Or it does not enable to reciprocate loving feelings. Therefore, we come to the difference between the personal form and the impersonal form of the Lord. And then Arjuna pushes on. He does not want to see the form he does not want to see the universal form of the Lord. So he pleads that let this vision be over. You were afraid and bewildered. Krishna mentions that he was afraid and bewildered by seeing this horrible feature of mine. Now be free from fear, and with a peaceful mind see my four-handed forms. And then Arjuna desires the form seen in four-handed and the two-handed Shyam Sundar form. So, and then Krishna is revealed. Krishna then reveals his four-armed form and his original two-armed form. And thus, and this is to encourage fearful Arjuna not to feel really fearful about it. So seeing this pleasant, humble human-like form is very beautiful. And he says, Arjuna says that he regained consciousness, he regained composure, and as he regained that, he is restored to his original nature. So the conclusion of these verses here comes as like glory of Krishna's personal form of bhakti, because personal form reciprocates, and therefore there's a reciprocation of love. Bhakti means love. So if you're not able to reciprocate, it becomes really discouraging. So therefore, in verse number 75, it mentions that knowledge, however, knowledge, in this material world, there are different types of achievement, but of all of them, the achievement of knowledge is considered to be the highest, because one can cross the ocean of nescience only on the boat of knowledge. Otherwise, the ocean is impassable. So we learned that yesterday, and here, even Lord Shiva is giving that as quite similar to Bhagavad Gita, an indication that beyond knowledge, this bhakti, the knowledge alone cannot take. So we're getting hopes after one another. So we see that the rarity in seeing Krishna's human-like form is, in seeing Krishna's human-like form is also extremely rare. It's rarest than, or it's rarer than seeing the universal form. So this human form of mine, where Krishna says in verse number 52-53, that this human form of mine, which you're seeing, is still very difficult to see. Even the Devtas are not able to see this form. And this form cannot be understood simply by Vedic study or penances or charity, and it can only be understood by bhakti. So then Krishna, how to know Krishna? Krishna told Arjuna that his two-handed form is still more confidential and very rare to see. And this four-handed forms, his two-handed forms, are eternal forms. And when he descends in that form, he's not visible to the foolish people. That's very important point here. So even if he comes, Krishna is known and seen only by Ananya Bhakti, which means that only by undivided devotional service can he be understood. And in this way, it is possible to know him, to enter into the mysteries of his understanding. Well, to understand God is very difficult. No one can understand God in full. If we understand God, then God is not God. So if we understand Krishna, then it's not, we won't be able to understand Krishna. But this is the hope that Krishna is giving, that by his personal form and by Ananya Bhakti, which is ahaituki and apratihata, without motivation and continuous, then how can that be done? It can be done only by the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. And if you're not under the guidance of the pure spiritual master or the bona fide spiritual master, it is impossible to even begin to understand Krishna. Even begin. Not about understanding totally, but even begin to understand Krishna. We won't be able to know, because we will still be confused with his opulences and or his coming here as a in human-like form. So the essence of Bhagavad Gita is again perform bhakti and attain Krishna. So Krishna in verse number 55 mentions, "He who works for me considers me the supreme, who is devoted to me without material attachments, without enmity toward any living being, will surely attain me." So what a promise Krishna is giving here. So Krishna, being the source of all forms, is the universal form, which is a temporary manifestation in this world, and the form of time, which devours everything, and even the four-handed form of Vishnu have all been exhibited by Krishna in some way. So then we understand this, that Krishna is thus the origin of all these manifestations, the hundreds and thousands of Vishnus. But for a devotee, no form of Krishna is important. It is important, but no form of Krishna is as sweet, but the original form, his Shama Sundara form. And this is also confirmed in uh, Brahma Samhita, where this verse, such a beautiful verse it is. Oops. Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundaram Achinta Guna Swarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship the primeval Lord, who is Shama Sundar, Krishna himself, with inconceivable, innumerable attributes, whom the pure devotees see in their heart of hearts with the eye of devotion tinged with a salve of love. So until and unless we have the ointment or anointed our eyes, balmed with that flow of love, we won't be able to see the two-handed form. So which balm of love or salve with that prema for Krishna, this tells the essence of every scripture where we reach to the highest level of prema, and that happens through sadhana bhakti. So in chapter 12 of Bhagavad Gita, we see more in detail, like Arjuna asks Krishna, who is better, personalist or impersonalist? So, and then Krishna's answer is, we get to understand the personalist devotee always worships the personal form, and the impersonal devotee always worships the unmanifested, impersonal Brahman. So in this, we learn that the pure devotees of Krishna are more perfect in yoga. Now, how to become a pure devotee? Krishna here instructs very clearly, so we didn't have to go anywhere else. Those who fix their minds on the personal form and are always worshipping me, desiring to associate with me, endowed with great and transcendental faith, are considered by me to be most perfect. So pure devotees fix the mind on the personal form, and they're always worshipping to desire to associate with me. We have innumerable examples in in Srimad Bhagavatam. Dhruv Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, they're very young children, and they're pure devotees because there's so much innocence in them, and they are desiring to associate with the Lord only. How? With so much of transcendental, great and transcendental faith. They are the most perfect. Moving further, we also see that if the impersonalists also attain Krishna, then what is the foundation of Krishna saying in verse 12.2? That the personalist devotees are superior attainers of him. Because impersonalist path is very difficult. The problem with the impersonalist path is there's a huge risk of deviation. And it's very difficult because the minds are attached to the unmanifested impersonal feature of the Supreme. And Krishna himself said that it is very difficult. It's not our mental speculation. It is Krishna's instructions. It's Krishna's words that following the impersonalist path is very difficult. It's a troublesome path. So here we come to see in verse number 75, Lord Shiva is mentioning about knowledge, which is Gyan. And in 76, he's talking about Bhakti. And we have a very clear dive into Bhagavad Gita chapter 12, where Bhakti Yoga versus Gyan Yoga is mentioned here. So those who worship the impersonal feature of the Supreme Lord are called Jnana Yogis, and those who perform devotional service in full and in faith, Krishna consciousness, are called Bhakti Yogi. So like the Supreme Lord, the living entity is also originally Sachidananda, eternal, knowledgeable, and blissful. And by Gyan Yoga, an embodied soul may realize the eternal, knowledgeable aspects of his original nature. But the blissful portion is realized only by bhakti. So the two aspects can be found, that yes, we are eternal and then all knowledgeable, but the blissful aspect remains incomplete until we faithfully enter into bhakti yoga. So by the grace of some devotee, which is often we say by Sukriti, we meet our spiritual master by pious activities. And it's pure mercy of the Lord to actually to actually connect us with devotees. That's by the grace of some devotees, a transcendentalist, a highly learned in the process of Jnana Yoga may come to that point of Bhakti Yoga. But Jnana Yoga is not the destination. So even that goal of impersonal Brahman, which is attained by Jnana Yogis, as mentioned before, we were talking about unmixed bhakti. That is equal to pure devotional service. So Jnana Yogis may come to the platform of Bhakti Yogi, but with the mixture of Jnana and Bhakti. And still that is not complete. So therefore, bhakti definitely stands higher than anything. Without bhakti to the Lord, they may, the impersonalist may experience frustration more than bliss. And bhakti yogi puts us into that difficulty in controlling the senses and engaging various aspects of our lives into bhakti because of Krishna's blissful form. And therefore, there's not much suffering because there's, at the same time, sense satisfaction is towards serving Krishna. It's not holding the senses to not do anything. So bhakti is basically in verses chapter 12 of verses 12, verses 6, 7, and the following continuation, we see that bhakti is a simple and easy path. How? Because they give up all their activities to Krishna. They are devoted to bhakti. From bhakti, one is devoted to Krishna without deviation. One is engaged in devotional service, and it is all meditating and all worshipping. And here Krishna promises that he is the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. And Krishna himself guarantees that he delivers anyone who is in bhakti swiftly, quickly, because he also gives the reason, because of their minds fixed upon me. So here Krishna explains the difference between worshipping his personal and impersonal forms. As I'll repeat again, in impersonal form, there's no reciprocation. And in personal form, there is a lot of protection. And there is a swift deliverance from the personality of Godhead himself. So now Krishna has established the supremacy of bhakti. Then from verses 8 to 12, Krishna mentions different levels of bhakti. Fixing one's mind upon me is smarana bhakti, exclusively just remembering Krishna, smarana bhakti, by remembering me always. Then he says, fix your intelligence in me, mana atmika bhakti, which means contemplating on me, remembering me, contemplating on me. Then try to fix your mind on Krishna. If you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then endeavor to fix the mind on me by following the regulative principles of bhakti, which is sadhana bhakti. Which also means withdraw the mind repeatedly from sense objects and fix it onto me. And this is a process. This is a abhyasa, practice. And in this way, one can develop, not attain, but develop the desire to attain me. So abhyasa yoga can only be practiced successfully under the guidance of a pure devotee. In our system of bhakti, we're following the instructions that are put forward by our founder Acharya A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who has got his instructions in the disciplic succession. So then we know our prescribed practices of bhakti yoga, like chanting the holy names, offering flowers to Krishna, doing arti, doing devotional service, or performing devotional service, taking prasadam, hearing scriptures, etc. And there's no limit to it. Then with these three types of bhakti, this is through internal senses. And external senses, also Krishna puts us into that, how to do bhakti from external senses, which is work for Krishna. If you can't do that internally, which means if you can't do, if one is not successful or finds difficulty in smarna atmika bhakti, manana atmika bhakti, abhyasa rupa bhakti, or sadhana bhakti, then in that case, at least work for Krishna. Krishna here gives very easy passages for us to work around. And then if you can't even work, just give up the results of work to Krishna. And in this, we understand that if working for Krishna, giving up the results for Krishna, and Krishna also further says in verses 12, for those who cannot even follow the principles of Krishna consciousness, it is better to cultivate jnana. Dhyan is better than jnana, meditation is better than jnana, because knowledge gradually develops. Jnana dhyanam vashishyate, gradually develops into meditation. But if you cannot do meditation, then you can renounce the results of his prescribed work for some good cause, charity. Then by renunciation, one can attain. For some good cause would mean charity, but charity here does not mean that to attain names or popularity. It is to renounce oneself from the attachment to the charity as well. So, and in all that, Krishna further mentions, we see that there are various aspects of bhakti. Krishna gives us easier path, and then he goes on to giving us easiest, so that we are in constant connection with Krishna in this way or that way. But then, if we're talking about pure devotee, Krishna clearly tells around 30 qualities, 31 qualities of a devotee who is dear to Krishna. And here we understand that pure devotee is always dear to Krishna. We can have 2 minutes and we can make it a little interactive. If you have Bhagavad Gita in your around you, or if you have, there's this 31 qualities of a devotee who's of a devotee who is very dear to Krishna. What are his qualities? And these are from verses 13 to 20. We see that Bhakti Yoga is very effective path of spiritual advancement, and a Bhakti Yogi definitely has, or he exhibits, transcendental qualities, and these are very, very dear to Krishna. If everyone's okay with it, just give me a hands up, or any sign, so that we can spare some 2 minutes to find out quickly what qualities are there that endears one to Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, it starts from chapter 11, chapter 12, verse 13. Uddeshta Sarva Bhutana Maitra Karuna Evacha. And in this way it goes on, Nimo Niranga, and finally it ends in.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is, you can just only pick the translations, and we can make it interactive in the sense that not I am speaking about all the qualities, but we can just relate everybody's input into this. So we don't have to say the verses, just a few qualities.
The first one is Uddeshta, or who doesn't have any, what I would say, envy to any person. That's a
Yes,
very, there's a very important in this material world, Mataji.
yes.
Because we are all.
Number one, yeah, number one can be not envious. And if someone is not envious, then the other is, if he's not envious, he is
He is Maitra, he is a friend, in other words, for every living being.
friendly. So non-envious, friendly, kind to other devotees, very merciful to all. Uh, Anything else?
Next one is Nirmamoni Hankara.
Mm,
He doesn't have attachment, no possession, and without any ego.
yeah,
Nirmamoni Hankara.
yes, so nice. So no sense of proprietorship, no nothing. It does not belong, or nothing belongs to him, and he's free from ahankar, which is false ego and or identification with his body. Yes, very nice. Some more.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
And
Krishna.
one, Hare Krishna Mata. One who is equal both in happiness and distress.
Yes, so beautiful. Equal, and then just, and not just equal, he's very forgiving as well. Shami, he's very forgiving as well, forgiving and tolerant. Thank you, Mataji. Very beautiful. Some more, if you can.
Another thing, Mataji, it says that he is not agitated for anything, nor anyone can agitate him. So he is not he is not he doesn't agitate anyone. And the contrary, he is not agitated by others also. That is another quality that's said in verse 15.
Yeah. Yeah, which is he's satisfied, always in devotional service, he's self-controlled and he's determined. Very nice. He's not agitated. He's not agitated by anyone, and no one agitates him. He's just taking care of that. So yes, Mataji.
No, you go on. He is tolerant and is always engaged in devotional service. Huh?
Yes, he's tolerant. Tolerance is one of the very, very important qualities a devotee has. Why is he tolerant? Because he's determined, he's self-controlled, and his mind and intelligence is fixed on Krishna. We're not tolerant because our mind and intelligence is fixed upon our respect. Therefore, there's a problem with not being tolerant. So he's equipoised in joy, distress, fear, anxiety. He does not have any fear, anxiety, or anything that causes distress. Anything else? Anybody?
He's
Also,
not
it's
dependent on ordinary course of activities. He's not dependent on mundane activities.
Yes, not dependent on mundane activities. Yes, Prabhuji, you were saying something? So pure devotee actually is neutral. He's devoid of all expectations from his work. He's not like, oh, I want to get this and the results should be this. He's like just devoid. He's just doing his best and then leaving everything to Krishna. He lives a very pure and clean life, and he's expert, he's skillful, and these examples can be found in our spiritual masters. And he's not totally careless about material persons, but he's very compassionate towards material persons, and he's free from all pains. He's free from all material endeavors also, like not very career oriented or not money minded. Whatever it is, it's only for the service of Krishna. And such devotees are really, really dear to me, who neither rejoices nor grieves, neither laments nor desires. He renounces auspicious, inauspicious both. There is nothing called auspicious, nothing called inauspicious. So these things tells us that the devotees are not basically after auspicious or inauspiciousness. So equal to friends and enemies, he's equal to criticism and praise as well. He's equal to this dualities of life: honor, dishonor, cold, heat, happiness, distress. And he finds he's also equal to criticism and praise, which is very important. He's silent. And he speaks only when essential topics are discussed. And is satisfied with whatever comes out of the mercy of Krishna. He does not care for any residence, and he's steady in mind and fixed in knowledge. So Krishna mentions here that these devotees, such a devotee is very, very dear to me. But those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service, Krishna also mentions, but they completely engage with faith, making me the supreme goal. Such devotees are very, very, very dear to me. So here faith is the most highlighting point. So Krishna is using the words Mat Bhakta, Bhaktiman in all these verses, in a couple of these verses, to indicate that the person who has a devotion unto him, and this devotion is the most essential quality. And how can we have devotion to someone until we have faith in them? And while these are primary qualities, like the what we say Swarupa Lakshana and Tathastha Lakshana. These the ones from 13 to 20 or 13 to 19 are qualities which are the secondary ones. But the first qualities, being in devotion, in faith that Krishna is the ultimate maintainer, Krishna is the ultimate protector, finding out in total surrender, like there are points of surrender, which is do activities favorable or accepting activities favorable in the service of Krishna, rejecting activities which are not favorable in the service of Krishna or in the path of devotional service. Always maintaining that Krishna is the, believing, having firm faith that Krishna is the maintainer, and equally having firm faith in Krishna, in being Krishna is the only protector. And there's no other business, which means one's mind is fixed on Krishna and no other business. But in all this, being faithful, being meek, and being humble, these are the qualities of a pure devotee. And having these qualities with faith, very strong faith, Krishna instructs in his own words, guarantees that one who fixes his mind, and that's where the surrender comes. The devotee's surrender to Krishna and fixing his mind and intelligence on Krishna is very, very dear to him. So what beautiful verse it was today to have taken us to Bhagavad Gita. We've completed the whole chapter of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12. And I'm really thankful for giving me this opportunity to delve into this beautiful verse and see that how so many aspects of jnana versus bhakti the aspects of devotional service and pure devotional service and pure devotion, and the glory of being associated with the pure devotee is so important and so beautiful. So with this, I will take a stop here, and if there is anything anyone wants to add or anything, please feel free.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much for the very nice class, particularly bringing out the importance of pure bhakti. And you have told from the beginning how it is different from Gyanamishta bhakti and other things, other bhaktis which has got contamination. But pure bhakti is like the Supreme Lord is pure and is free from all contaminations. And that should be the goal of us, because for the devotees in particular, because Krishna is transcendent as a Param, he is the purest among the pure. So Param, I think in verse 10, 11, 10, 12, it is Arjuna was telling to Lord Krishna that you are Param Purush, so you are also supreme pure. So to be pure, we have to go to Krishna. We have to be pure only, because with contamination, we cannot expect to go there, because the dirty things is not allowed in any place. Even in our material things also, we avoid dirty things. So the material contamination has no place in the Vaikuntha or the Krishna's place. So we have to aspire for that pure bhakti, and that is achievable only with the mercy of the Vaishnavas. And as in the verse, it is as the last part Prabhupada has mentioned, that it must be, one must have the mercy of a pure devotee. Without serving him and without his mercy, we cannot have the mercy of the Krishna. And in other words, our journey cannot be complete, and we cannot achieve our goal. And the other things you have mentioned about the faith, the faith must be very steady, and we must have the faith that whenever we follow the instruction of our spiritual master, bona fide spiritual master, and follow their instruction perfectly, and that will enable us to pure bhakti. Without any doubt, we must have that faith. And because in Bhagavad Gita, in many places it is mentioned, if I can remember, it is 4.40, it is mentioned that Agyasya Shraddha Anasya Samshayatma Vinashati Nayang Lokosti No Poro No Shukam and No Shukam Samshayatmana. One who has no faith on the Guru and the Lord, he is bound to be destined to be destroyed, because his faith will never, he will neither achieve perfection here nor in the supreme abode, because in his next life also.
Yeah.
Similarly, I think in 9.3, if I can remember, yes, 9.3 it was also tell it is no Astadha Dhana Purusha Samshayat, just one second. Astadha Dhana Purusha Dharmashasya Parantapo Aprapya Maham Nivartante Vitya Samsara Vartmani. There also it is said the importance of faith, and we must have faith on the Supreme Lord and his representative, our spiritual master. If we have that faith, only that will enable us for the next step. But if we do not have that, how can we go the next? We cannot jump from one ladder. And so that's why the faith is very important. But at the same time, the faith must be from a bona fide. When we hear from a bona fide representative of the Lord, our faith becomes fixed. Otherwise, the faithless person normally has not got the opportunity to hear from a pure devotee. That's why they are faithless. And Prabhupada has often told that we should hear, but hear from whom? From a pure devotee. And when we hear it, it has got extra potential on that, because he is carrying the Krishna's message himself. And because he is following it, it becomes more potent when we hear from him. So that's why we should always hear from a pure devotee, and in this way, increase our faith on the Lord, and that is one of the first steps. And following in association, when we association with other devotees, we pursue a devotional service, we can reach our goal. And thank you very much for nicely explaining all these points. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you. I just when you were saying, I had this understanding that Krishna sitting in our heart as Paramatma also sees our sincerity and faith. And then through his arrangements, we meet a pure devotee who actually then guides us further, and then we are able to surrender to the pure devotee as a representative of Krishna, which is so beautiful. Thank you,
Yes,
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna
Okay.
Mata, Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare
Very
Krishna.
nice class, Radha Padma.
Thank
You have
you.
inspired me so much this morning, connecting me to Guru and Krishna. Thank you so much. And such a beautiful summary by Prabhuji Abhas Prabhu, right?
Mhm.
No. What's Prabhuji's
Abhay
Abhay Chaitanya? Abhay
Prabhu.
Chaitanya Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for the encouragement. Okay, if there are no more comments, then we can finish here, if that's okay with everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Already it appears there is no other person, so we can close the class now. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha कृपासिन्धु देवच पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः अनंतकोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय
Srila Prabhupada
की जय
की जय
His Grace Radha Padma Mataji की
and
जय
Jai.
जय हरे
कृष्ण
कृष्ण
Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
जय
हरे कृष्ण